new chapter will be commenced, and the chapter name is ratio analysis. This chapter is very much important in the examination point of view, because you will get one 14 marks question and also one 6 marks question. And ratio analysis is helpful in your further studies, like if you do your MBA, or something MFA. So it will be very useful, ratio analysis. Then in the future career also, it is very much useful. So ratio analysis, why this ratio analysis is very much important? Can anybody text me why it is important, ratio analysis? Because companies anyhow preparing its financials, consolidated balance sheet or a standalone balance sheet. Can anybody please tell me? I'm waiting for you on your peoples. Please respond me why it is very important. See, company is anyhow, it is preparing its balance sheet and also income statement. And moreover, the very much important part is the cash flow statement. So apart from income statement and cash flow statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement is a very good thing to analyze the company. Okay. So why do we require this? Not the difference amount between the last year data and present current year data, because this ratio analysis we are calculating for the company's health position, and also to compare this data with other similar kind of industries. Okay. So what are the objectives of the ratio analysis? Yeah, for comparing other companies. Not, you don't have to write down the comparing other companies, because companies are of different types of companies, because there are core sectors are there and manufacturing sectors. Okay, so we don't have to compare like this. We have to compare the other companies with a similar kind of work takes place. Okay, if X is the manufacturing company, then Y should also have to be the manufacturing company. Then only we will compare the ratios. Okay, and what are the objectives of the ratio analysis is to locate the weak spots of the business which need more attention, and provide deeper analysis of the liquidity, solvency, activity, and profitability of the business. Because liquidity, solvency, and activity, profitability, these are the classifications of the ratios. Okay, and provide information for making cross-sectional analysis, that is for making comparison with that of some selected firms. As I told you, the companies which are of same type of companies and same kind of industries, and to provide information for making time series analysis, that is making comparison of firms present ratios with past ratios, and then to provide information useful for making estimates and preparing plans for the future. Okay, then advantages of the accounting ratios. It is helpful in analysis of the financial statements and simplification of accounting data and comparative study. Then same of in the above objectives, locating the weak spots of the business. I will explain you what is weak spots is. See, when you are calculating the liquidity ratio, that the standard ratio is how much? That is 2:1. So if the company doesn't meet the standards, then there we need to find out the weak spots, where it is going wrong, and whether the inventories are keeping in touch or not, all these things information. Then helpful in forecasting estimates about the trend of the business. Then fixation of ideal standards, effective control, and study of the financial soundness. Okay, if the all ratios are good, then it is companies financially is a good company, and it sounds better also. And classification of ratios. Here there are four kinds of ratios are there: liquidity, solvency, activity or turnover ratio, and then is profitability ratio. So in liquidity ratio, as I told you earlier, what we are calculating here in the liquidity ratio is we are ascertaining the current liabilities to its current assets. Okay, current assets to current liability. Okay, here what it has written is liquidity ratio are an important class of financial metrics used to determine a debtor's ability to pay off the current debt obligation without raising external capital. Because if current ratios is negative, so the company will opt for the working capital loan from the financial institution. So here, if you focus on the current ratios, then the company can able to make it doesn't make losses. In this way, it will not able to, and it will not be get the money from the financial institutions as a loan. Okay. Then liquidity ratios determine a company's ability to cover short-term obligation and cash flows. And common liquidity ratios are current ratio and then quick ratio. So in current ratio, we'll calculating current assets to current liability. And in quick ratio, this quick ratio is nothing but acid test ratio. This is also similar of current ratio only, but here we are deducting inventory and prepaid expenses from the current assets. Okay, then we have a solvency ratio. Here, the solvency ratio, it is used to measure an enterprise ability to meet its debt. Okay, and then the solvency ratio indicates whether a company cash flow is sufficient to meet its short-term and long-term liabilities. Lower the company's solvency ratio, greater is the probability that it will default on its debt obligation. Okay, in solvency ratio, we are calculating debt to equity ratio, then total assets to the total assets turnover ratio, assets ratio, and then interest coverage ratio also. Whether the company is able to pay the interest or not in the meantime. And debt equity also, how much debt is there in the company, and to that debt, whether the equity is also higher than the debt or not, that we need to calculate. And if the debt to equity ratio is good, then the company may sustain in the future. Okay. So as a general rule of thumb rule is there, solvency ratio is higher than 20% is considered to be financially sound. However, solvency ratio vary from industry to industry, because debt equity ratio, if you look at the service industry, there you will not find the solvency ratio this higher percentage. Here what they have given in the thumb rule is 20%, because in the service industry all the works going on in the debt only. Okay. So this is about the solvency. And later on, while solving the problems, and by tomorrow also, I'll going to give the formulas how to calculate the how to calculate debt equity ratio and total debt to total assets, and then interest coverage ratio. And one more thing is there, that is a proprietary ratio. There we will know the how much promoter contribution is there. Okay, then activity ratio or turnover ratio. So here it's a type of financial metric that indicates how efficiently a company is leveraging assets on its balance sheet to generate revenue and cash. Okay, this it means that how much the company is utilizing its assets for generating revenues. Okay, and commonly it has inventory management, then the turnover ratios like inventory turnover ratio, data turnover ratios, and account receivable turnover ratios are there. Okay. So here an activity ratio is broadly describes any type of financial metric that helps investor and research analyst to gauge how efficiently a company uses asset to generate revenue and cash. Okay. And with this information, we can come to know that the fiscal health of the companies. And here it has given account receivable activity ratio can be subcategorized into account receivable ratio, inventory turnover ratio, total assets to assets turnover ratio, return on equity, and asset turnover ratio. So in account receivables, here we need to know how much credit sales are given, and day sales operations also we will calculate here in the account receivable turnover ratio, in this activity ratio, because in how much days the amount is going to inflow in the business. Okay. So here the account receivable turnover ratio determines an entity's ability to collect money from its customer. So total credit sales are divided by average accounts receivable balance for a specific period. A low ratio suggests a deficiency in the collection process. If the collection is late, then the company will incur a huge debt. Okay. Then inventory turnover ratio. This is one major part of the activity ratio, inventory turnover ratio. The inventory turnover ratio measures how often inventory balance is sold during an accounting period. The COGS is divided by average inventory for a specific period. Okay. This cost of goods sold, COGS is nothing but cost of goods sold. Okay. Higher calculation suggests that a company can move its inventory with relative ease. Because in the inventory turnover ratio, here we are calculating the days also, inventory days also we are calculating. If the days are low, then we'll say that inventories are, the goods are selling fast. Okay, if the say goods are not selling faster, then the inventory ratio will be low. Okay, will be high. Sorry. Then total assets to turnover ratio. The total assets turnover ratio measure how efficiently an entity uses its assets to tender a sale. Here the formula is total sales are divided by total assets. Okay. Then return on equity. This measures the revenue raised from shareholder equity and it is calculated by dividing net income. Okay. Then asset turnover ratio. It is also same like total assets turnover ratio to reveal how a company is using its assets to generate sales. Okay, then the last thing is profitability ratio, I think. Yes, last thing is profitability ratio. That notes I have not prepared yet. So I will explain you in short. Profitability ratio, the main objective of the business, all the business concern is to earn profit. Okay. The profit is measurement of the efficiency of the business. The profitability ratio measures various aspects of the profitability of the company, such as what is the rate of profit on revenue from operation, and whether the profits are increasing or decreasing, and if it is decreasing, what is their cause. Okay. Then some important profitability ratios are gross profit ratio and operating profit ratio, then operating ratio, net profit ratio, and return on investment. Okay, ROI. So here one more thing I want to tell you this: the advantages we have explained, I have explained you, and the limitations also there in this ratio analysis. That is, if the accounting data is false, then the ratios also gives the false amount. Okay, if the amount is false, then the ratios will also be false only. Then these ratios are not used in the proper standards. Okay, there is no proper standards because banking industries, they use some other standards, and manufacturing industries, they use some other standards also. So lack of proper standards, and ratios alone are not adequate for the proper conclusions. Okay. Then ratio analysis become less effective due to price level changes. When you know that hedge funds are there in the companies, how they are using the hedge funds to mitigate its risks while exporting the goods. Okay. And the ratios may be misleading in the absence of real data or absolute data. And one more thing is, another important point is that different persons draw different meaning of different terms, because in one analyst may calculate ratios on the basis of profit after interest and tax, whereas another analyst may consider profit before interest and tax. Okay. And third may consider profit after interest but before tax. Therefore, before making a comparison, one must be sure that ratios have been calculated on the same basis. Okay. And although ratios analysis suffer from a number of limitations, as I told you, but yet it is very useful and powerful tool using for financial statement analysis. Okay.
Are you interested in teaching? Then you have a golden opportunity to take. Join B-Study Maths Teachers Committee and get a chance to teach on an online platform and fulfill your dreams of becoming a successful teacher. For more, just fill the below form.